Hey there, how's it going? Apologies, there's been a lapse of video recording and sharing of the information that are coming in from the quantum. That doesn't mean messages haven't been arriving, as you well know. I just wanted to make sure that if you feel like sharing these videos, you know some people, family, friends, business partners and such who are struggling and having some hardship and challenge with some of these adjustments and changes of life that we're experiencing. Quite a different world that we have here in 2020. Feel free to share these videos. Absolutely, go for it. And if you're wanting to stay more in touch, go to takewalkwithyourangels.com and sign up for the newsletter. It comes out on around the 11th, depending on what's going on in the world. And then be sure to wait until the end if you are looking to learn how to quantum leap, or you have had a taste of it. You're running into some challenges there, feeling like I don't exactly know what I'm doing. I kind of feel like I'm doing it. I'm going to walk you through one. So I'll take you through a guided loop at the end of this video. So first off, the last time I spoke with you or shared the information was May. And I shared a bit about everything leading into May was a lot about finding some illusions, coming into full throttle mode of kind of just deciding we're done with the untruths and being led to believe one thing or having these agendas and motives. They're leaning into a lot of falsehoods, a lot of deception and corruption and greed. And so coming out then of that month and leading into June and July and then August, I heard many times from those in the quantum, out of form, and then here too on the earth plane in form, that they were facing a lot of pieces in their life where they're looking at their businesses, their careers, their professions, their business associates, things to do with their personal life, their families, their communities, their neighborhoods, where it got really foggy and ambiguous and people were being told things that weren't true. And they were not just a little bit untrue. They were big, hugely untrue, and to not necessarily with the intention of causing harm, but only at the ego winning of the person that was creating the untruth and that was speaking to that untruth and offering up solutions that were very not real for the other person. Now this sounds maybe a little bit ambiguous itself. It really isn't. It just comes down to this. June, July, August was about facing these things, not being afraid of lies, not being afraid of the deception, deciding, you know what, we're going to just steal straight up and head on into the corruption, and then determine how are we going to live with that. Are we going to decide in favor of it? Are we going to go along with it? Are we just going to play like hoping that people are going to come real with themselves with you? Or are we going to say, you know what, we have to take a stand? And then with that taking of a stand, you might have seen some really interesting reactivity. So there are lots of people have been sharing, yeah, I had the most unusual response, more like a knee-jerk reaction from somebody at work or from somebody in my neighborhood. I just totally unexpected. It blew me away. Everything up until now seemed like it was okay. It wasn't that great, and maybe there were some different motives and agendas going on that I wasn't really letting myself see because I couldn't believe that people were going to do that, whatever that happened to be. So July, and then you kept hearing maybe from your angels and your guides or those here. It's really on your heart, like something you'd like to
stay good, don't get in trouble, and if you are getting in trouble, remember you can only change for yourself only when you want to change.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Okay, believe it or not, that young man approached right in the middle of the shooting the video to see if he could be in a picture with me. So instead, I asked him to share his main message, and you just heard it. So now let's bounce back to July. That's how this quantum leaping goes. You never know who you might encounter or who may want to end up being in your field with you, your quantum field. So July then came into standing your ground. That's what I heard from the angels over and over and over again. Send the message out. Share the message. Stand your ground. Do not back down. That a lot of powers that be were using old ideas, very antiquated ways of doing things, also mixed in with some new practices based on the times that people are being challenged with COVID and all the things that are going on there. So It's kind of like a lot of entities decided they could just do whatever they wanted to people, to humans, based on them being able to say, well, you know, it's just that we're right here right now. There's a lot of unknowns, so we can jack you for this money, or not pay you what you're worth, or not give you your salary. We're gonna have to cut your salary, you know. And so in July, a lot of people were facing with, I think we need to cut some ties and pivot to new endeavors, new horizons, new terrains, new people. And so if you came into July and were like, gosh, I know I got to change some things up. I cannot do it this way. Maybe I need to add an additional stream of income, something I've never even tried before or attempted in any fashion. I don't even know if I can do it, but I'm going to just go for it. What did this boil down to for a lot of people? Their passions, their gifts, their talents, things that they've been walking around with their whole life since they were born. They finally gave light to that, let that spotlight get on it, decided, you know what, all I need is a web page online to share what I know I can do, whether it was art, music, sharing music, getting paid to do music online for another person. Have you seen some of these things that are popping up with people being able to pay musicians to do happy birthdays for their friends? It's outstanding. So July was all about that, of standing the ground with yourself primarily and saying, I'm going to be valued. I realize the world has changed. A lot of things have fallen apart and fallen away on purpose, because we are really in the middle of the leap from the 3D reality to the 5D reality. Now, what does that mean? That means a lot of people are still gripping and holding on for fierce, dear life to that 3D reality, believing in the linear time aspects, believing that things are very concrete and you have to get them back to a certain normalcy. Well, guess what, my friends? We're not going to be in a normal thing anymore. Remember the years when people thought, I feel like I'm kind of in a rut and I got to get out of this rut? Well, that's not going to be any longer, because things are changing so incredibly fast. If you let go to that, if you hold on and grip as hard as you can to what used to be, you might find yourself in a lot of hopelessness, senses of desperation, depression, anxiety, insomnia, things like that, instead of just letting go and saying, you know what, I'm bound for this new world with the rest of the people that I'm watching that seem to be in joy. They seem to have these deep wells of peace that are coming out of them. Where is this coming from? What does this mean for August? What happened in August then? Out of that resolution, that stance of, I will not back down, I'm going to stand my ground. Guess what? Great answers are coming now. People are receiving the results that they stood fast for. They're feeling like things, ooh, angel tingles I just got. So if you're waiting on a response for something, on an answer, on a solution, on a resolution to something that maybe you've been waiting for 5 months to hear, it's coming now. August is about opening up to those solutions, to having those answers be prepared and presented in front of you. And you're going to probably scratch your head in this month, even still in August, and say, how did this even come to be when it seemed like there was so much resistance before it? I was given every excuse in the book, and I was being told all these stories, and it was clear that people were lying to each other in order to stay gripped in that old world, to stay honed in on those things that they're not serving anymore, and they will not serve any of us as a planet. So where are we going with this, August? You have to stand strongly and then open. See, that's not where we've always been with humanity. Like, the human spirit is the open part, right? As humans, what happens is when they try to open up to something, there's a part of a human that'll say, yeah, but I kind of doubt that, and I don't really trust that. This is not the time to be just trusting your spirit, your heart, or be hedging on anything, holding back, or allowing your ego to talk you out of something that is going to connect you more with humanity, that's going to be able to give you a flow through service to humanity in a different way. If you find you're bumping into people that are still trying to use you or not value you, they're in really oddball ways, even, where you're thinking, they just totally lied to my face because they're trying to get something from me for free. And you're gonna catch it faster and faster and faster. These times are a momentum about that. Keep asking for the big truth. Ask and ask and ask for the big truth. Be prepared, you're gonna hear it. You will get the big truth coming at you, and you might not like it. Like, it's looking pretty ugly in some cases, because you're seeing into the illusion, you're seeing into the deception, into the corruption, into the greed, the amount of greed that this planet is pushing out from its inner sanctums of and ego that are just flying up now, so people can be aware of it. We're awakening like nobody's business. We're in huge waves of awakening. The awareness is always on, don't forget that. So if you're not feeling very aware of something, or you're just coming into an awareness, it's not that your awareness wasn't there. You might have been talked out of it, you might have been convinced otherwise. You can't even imagine how many kids I bump into that have the speak that this young man just had.
of saying, you know what, you can only change yourself. You can't change everybody around you. They have to decide. Their own thoughts have to change. They have to change from the inside out. That's where we're going. We're going to heal from the inside out. We're going to be able to evolve from the inside out. All of this projected power onto this business, that career, that boss, that boyfriend, the girlfriend, nothing. We're pulling our energy back to ourselves as far as where our real power comes from. And we're going to get in touch with it. And it is a big awakening for a lot of people, because all of a sudden you have to own your life. You have to quit blaming anything outside yourself for wherever you happen to be, whatever paths you're crossing, whatever encounter you're having. Start telling yourself, I met this person for a reason. Let's just find out what our soul contract is together. What was our purpose for our encounter? You might be being drawn into some bigger world affair things, just on the fly, like out of the blue. And just an interesting little anecdote that happened this past month, and it's just this is in a lot of people's faces. A lot of clients are asking me about this. A lot of family have been asking me about this as well. Is this human trafficking thing this big? Or are we just being blown a bunch of smoke about it? It is big. It is the largest crime on the planet right now, is this disappearance of children. And you're not talking 13, 14-year-old girls only. You're talking infants to 17-year-olds, and then even sometimes past that into the 20s. It just depends on how wrapped up the children are getting into this. What do we have to do as a collective? Keep our eyes open. Be present. So this anecdotal piece that I was going to share is that not long ago, an owl arrived. I haven't seen this owl before. It arrived, sat on a fence, and just started making a lot of noise. So I'm paying attention to the owl, asking the owl, what's your message? What's going on here? Meanwhile, I'm with BJ, my cowboy super nerd, and he's spinning around to see what the owl is actually cocking its head at. You notice how owls will often turn their heads and turn their eyesight and drill in to what is happening. And out of that came the finding of a missing person. So if we keep our eyes open and we decide for real that we are one, and that we do need to watch over each other in a lot of this panic desperation of events that are happening in every rural community, every town, every large city. It doesn't matter where you live today. You're going to hear stories of, like, this weirdest thing happened, this evidence of crime in my neighborhood, and they did this and that. What is the answer? We have to come together and stand stronger than ever and be really calm. I hear that regularly all the time, is to stay calm, because if we jump into the panic and the desperation with the person, to get super defensive, get into the hatefulness, or respond with the hatefulness, or the amount of pain that's in a person that needs to hurt another person, if we jump into it, we're lost. So you have to remember to stay really calm, stay really focused, send energy to the person that's about or thinking about doing some kind of crime. Direct energy to that person for, what are they asking for really? They're asking for love. They are asking for attention, acknowledgement that they matter, that they have a chance to make a difference on the planet. At the base of everything is that. I don't care what it's veiled in. It could be veiled in extreme violence. It's still the yearning for love. So direct as much love as you can. And then rolling into September, I'll be back with you in September and talk about where this is all going as well. In the meanwhile, let's do a quantum leap, a guided quantum leap. And how I do it is I'm going to have you draw a big, huge, deep breath, hold it as long as you can while you're leaping from your current reality and jumping into your desired reality regarding anything that is weighing on your heart, that's really, really been moving around in your brain a lot, that you want in this August 2020, you want answers, you want a solution, you want results for everything that you've been intending, where you've been setting your intentions, and be clear about that. So when you're jumping into your current reality, you consider what is troubling you the most, what is the most challenging for you right now, and you hold your breath and you direct it into the leap. You're dumping off any blocks in the way of that. And I'm just going to tell you what I'm getting from the collective as we're doing this. So ready? Take a big, huge, deep breath. Hold it as long as you can. You're coming from your current reality. You're leaping into your desired reality regarding whatever it is that you are really focused on this month. Okay, so I'm hearing resolution of money coming, resolution of a home coming, resolutions of family matters having to do with children, knowing where to go with their education, educators wondering where to take their kids in all of this. So lots of angel tingles about this. So I've got lots of educators out there watching this. Where do we go from here? So in your leap, jumping into this desired reality, see wherever if it's a classroom, if it's a business center, if it's an office, if it's a work from home, if it's an office in somebody else's building, if it's a personal matter with your children, you're jumping to your desired reality, you're dumping off every block in the way. You don't have to know what the blocks are. can be helpful to know things like, okay, let me just tell you what I'm getting right now. A fear of losing, fear of losing track of things, fear of losing the children's innocence, their ability to be standing in wonder at all this world that seems to be in a lot of darkness right now. So let's dump all that stuff out of the way, because we're jumping into the quantum. The quantum is all light. It's connecting you as well at this time to all of your guides, your angels, your people in form that are connected to you in these very strong, staunch ways. Also out of form. So people who perhaps passed this year, or just recently, that are weighing on your mind as well. What are they thinking about this world that we're doing right now? Guess what, my folks? We are directing the show. We are the co-creators. We are going to make this world however we decide to make it. So dumping off all those blocks to, we have no say. We are being given these rules and regulations, and it's presented to us as law, even though the laws have not been changed. So let's jump into the truth of that and delete and uncreate any areas where you have been convinced that you have no say, that you will not be able to make a difference in this new world, that you do have a very big difference, that the energy that you're directing and giving to every aspect of your life, the minute you wake up, the minute you go to bed, and then over in your astral travels as well during your sleep states, all of it's mattering. So watch your intentions. The intention's faster than thought. It lands faster than thought. Check in with your intentions here in the quantum. Your essential self stands with you purely and clearly and without any of these filters and blocks, and will talk with you exactly about what's needed. Where do you need to go next? That career, I'm just hearing right now, I'm hearing some people with the starting letter of M in their names are really unhappy with the direction of their career. They're being told a lot of foggy, fake stuff, and they're sick and tired of it, and they're saying, I know I need to leave this now. What? Ask your essential self, talk to your angels and guides. See what's going on as far as where to turn next. What about your gifts and talents? What about those? Are you going to keep sheltering them? Are you going to decide that you're going to take them off, dust them off, and put them to play, put them into practice? Allow your purpose to be this lifetime. You don't have to live this whole life in a career or a business or connected to people that are just not your frequency state, because that's what you went to school for. That's where you've invested a lot of money, perhaps. Let me see what else they're saying. Everything to do with making yourself stay in an environment that is not your frequency state. You're suffering in it. You feel gross. You're tired. You're so tired. And the mask has got to come off so you can breathe. Type of tired. Get oxygen back into your cells, going way into the origination of your being. Okay, what else do I see? Okay, so here's another stuff. Avoidance stuff. Dumping off avoidance. Getting to this point that you cannot avoid yourself anymore. You can't avoid your gifts and talents. You can't prevent yourself from living them. You can't, it's way beyond letting other people talk you out of them and decide that you can't do them. It's about you deciding nothing's going to stop you anymore, ever again. You will live your purpose. You will live on your purpose. You will be in the love of your purpose. And from that becomes your sparkly joy that is going to attract all kinds of abundance and prosperity. True wealth. Not the wealth that's derived from taking advantage of other people. That's a big one for a lot of people. Dump that one off, that no one has to take advantage of you ever again, that people don't get to treat you as a number on a piece of paper. They don't get to move you around so that the stock numbers look good in your company. Believe me, that's happening a lot. I can hear it. It's like we're sounding like a clamoring bell, church bells. So dumping off, being used that way, being told that that's just the way it is, that this is how corporations are run. Just get used to it. Get a thicker skin. How many times have you heard that one? Guess what? No. The time now is we're moving into is everybody's going to be tuned into their hearts. The ego has got to take a back seat, because in the way that the world is yearning to go, the collective, I'm talking, humanity at its guts, and all of that level is saying this was not enough. This old world was not enough. We were running around like crazy. Everybody was rushing to one thing to the next. Guess what? Kids are saying they are loving the fact that they have time with their parents. They have time. That is what they're loving, that their parents are more present with them, because they're not having to dash off to 3 jobs at one time. So, okay, dumping off anything around that too. Guilt, shame, having to do with, let me see what else they're talking about, desperation and panic. Let's just lop that all off, get rid of it. And more lean into your knowing that all of this is going somewhere. We're going to look back on this as you have everything else in your life where you went, I don't know how I got through that, but I did. How did we get through all those things? We faced them. We walked through them. We decided we're going to come out on the other side of this thing, and it's all going to make more sense, and it's going to be better and better. The idea is feeling better and better, letting yourself feel better and better, instead of deciding or being convinced that everything's getting worse and worse and it's all going to just fall apart. Will there be some more detours and some roller coaster rides and some bumps in the road? Absolutely. We got some more waves coming. Here's how you can do it. Think in terms, this is in the quantum space too, with your guardian angel. When you're jumping and you're in this desired reality, you're seeing your shelves full of all the food you need, all the goods you need, your batteries in case they're rolling back out, so you have energy conservation going on, or their lights are going out for whatever reason, and you are allowing yourself to continue to live and do what's important to you and what your priorities are for your family and your children and your businesses, and having those little extra things around, making sure that you have, so that if you feel in your gut, I don't want to go somewhere today, guess what? You don't have to. You've already been, and you have something that's going to last you another 2 weeks. Grow food. I'm hearing this over and over again. I know I've mentioned this in the previous videos. They're talking about this in the quantum still, and this is our reality. People are growing food for each other, and people are deciding, you want to grow potatoes, I'll grow corn. Do you want to take care of some herbs? I'll take care of the greens. And talk to your people that are owning the land. If you're renting, find out what you can grow there. Maybe you're growing it in the bathtub or on a deck or a patio or whatever. And so being able to realize that we are all co-creating all the time, and to project our power onto anything else outside of ourselves for happiness and peace anymore, that's history. That's history. 2020 has presented that as history. So, okay, so take this, all of this newfound field of hope, of your knowing, of your decision making regarding you taking your stance. You're not backing down. You're going to keep moving forward. You've faced everything. You've decided that, you know what, I don't have to live like that anymore. It had some good stuff. Yeah, I remember some really good stuff, but I know that deep down inside of me, I still wasn't feeling completely revved up to my life, to my purpose, and especially to my service to humanity, how I'm connecting with other people. What does that look like? How does that going to be composited as far as how much more far-reaching we're all going to be touching each other's lives in much more immense ways? So taking all that, feel a feeling about all that goodness, of that feeling of like, yeah, this feels so much better than the current reality that I jumped out of. Now, jump that back into your current reality. Make sure you bring it back into the now. That's key, because the quantum space is timeless. So whatever you do, when they say you can't really change your past, oh yeah, you can. You can jump to the quantum space and uncreate stuff from your past. And I have many people that will testify that they've done it, and they come back to their current reality and things have changed. Regarding loved ones, regarding the responses from things, about the things that happened 30 years ago, you name it, things can get uncreated. So you can jump into your past through the quantum, you can jump into the future, you can come jump into your now, whatever you decide to do, whatever you want to uncreate, to recreate things back up as you wish, and jump it back into your now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. This is Jeannie with Blaha with Take Off with Your Angels of JoyFlames.com. Please feel free to share this video and come on back next month or before. I'm sure I'll be sharing something before then. Love you lots. Peace.